Greetings Marines, FiOth here, and in this vid we will be breaking down the Sergeant kit. This is the first vid in a series I will be making covering every single kit in the game. So we'll start with Sergeant and then we're gonna move on with the rest, culminating in a tier list of the kits according to which is the most crucial to have and which is the least crucial to have. So we're gonna start here with the leader class, the Sergeant. I'm gonna break down class attributes, then I'm gonna go to suggested commons and then the upgrades, closing with some remarks on how I think this will benefit your team or whether or not you should swap them out for something else. Be advised, at the midpoint of the game you get a 5th Marine slot, so you can technically have one of each kit. Should you go for a double instead of a Sergeant though? Let's find out. Class attributes go as follows. Charismatic. As long as a Marine with this attribute is alive, all Marines in the squad get a 10-point bravery bonus. What is bravery exactly? It is a metric that dictates how much stress you're accumulating when in a stress-inducing phase. If you're being hunted, if you are in combat, and so on and so on, according to how much accumulated bravery a squad has, you're gonna accumulate strength. So stress should be managed in some shape or form, and more bravery means you'll be accumulating less of it. Reprimand. Grants the reprimand skill, prevents stress from increasing for the next 30 seconds. Very important in a variety of scenarios. You might wanna stop a Marine from going insane with paranoia when it's building up automatically. That is a character trait, by the way, that you can heal with the redemption common. More on that later. You can stop Marines from building stress while you're trying to extract to avoid the aftermath of that stress in trauma form. You can click on this vid right here if you want to learn about stress, trauma and how to treat it, or you can just stop them from accumulating stress whilst you're waiting for that onslaught to come your way. If you don't accumulate in a dead phase, pretty much when nothing's happening, you will have better aim and overall better performance whilst you're fighting the onslaught itself. Reprimand is a very interesting and useful skill, but there are others that overshadow it. So let's go to the level 10 one, encouraging speech. When using the rest option, the squad stress is reduced by 150 points instead of 100 points. That means that if you are max stress, you will go down to 1 bar and a half. If you have 150, you'll go back to 0. It's interesting, it's useful, but there are so many ways of decreasing stress. You can take drugs. A simple rest will deduct 100 points anyway, reprimand will stop stress from accumulating, and so on and so forth. This is interesting, but compared to other classes, level 10 class attribute is not very impressive. Actually, of all the Sergeant's class attributes, I think the most important is charismatic, because it preemptively stops stress for accumulating as hard as it would if the Sergeant wasn't present. Now for commons, always hit redemption, as I've said in my ideal perks vid. Since the Sergeant is ultimately a support class, you can spend a couple of commons points in order to benefit the entire team. So fast is very good, the entire squad will move faster. Looter is exceptionally good, especially if you get it from early on. You will get your looting going that much stronger and build a strong economy. In my humble opinion, if you can get looter on all your Marines early on, you should do it. I would give him Smartass if it had rolled for me. Smartass allows the Sergeant to hack stuff, and that makes him more useful than just supporting the team passively. A Taker will do it better, but the Taker is a dedicated class. And also you can try putting Team Spirit here and on another one of your Marines, so you'll have an additional command point. Since the Sergeant's job is to manage the squad and its command points, it's ideal that you invest more on this kind of thing. Sadly, this is a no one can hear you scream run. I have only one quick save at base, didn't get lucky with the RNG, and I never actually got Team Spirit. For upgrades, I always start my Marines with pouches. Pouches is excellent because it allows me to loot more from the get-go, bring more back to the Otago, and start building my consumables economy. Aiming sight is a very nice 5 points to accuracy, and up to this point you cannot really get anything else. And then starting from level 3, radio backpack increases maximum command points. Advanced radio backpack regenerates these command points faster, and honor ribbons increases the Marines bravery for an additional 5. So you will have 15 additional bravery points by the end of this build. The more clips or extended clips upgrades are ones I never use on any of my Marines, and I don't use them on the Sergeant either. So how does this kit stack up in comparison to the rest? I think it rates pretty low, because yeah, you can manage your stress when in manageable situations, like when you're trekking through a mission, but when the shit hits the fan, stress accumulates so fast and so much is happening around you that using, let's say, reprimand is a waste of ability points, or let's say command points, that would have turned into a grenade or an RPG strike or suppressive fire. If you are looking at your stats consistently throughout the mission and managing your stress, you can avoid getting to those levels that will lead into trauma anyway, without the Sergeant being there. For top tier gameplay to hit the skill ceiling on the highest of difficulties at the toughest scenarios imaginable, for people who know exactly what they are doing, a Sergeant in the team can actually help mitigate all the stress and the effects that accompany it. But for the player who is now getting used to the game and still learning, I am pretty sure you can get a lot more mileage out of the second gunner you can have on the team than having a Sergeant. More firepower. Also, I think it's tied to the lowest tier with the medic, and I'm saying this because the medic will keep you alive when you get damaged, but a Sergeant, although cannot heal you, will avoid stress damage from accumulating, and if you don't have a lot of stress damage, you will be better at aiming and overall using abilities, which means that the hits will actually never happen and the dog's work will be a bit more redundant. I am not saying the Sergeant is a bad class. Hell, I named my Sergeant after myself, the FiOth, but it brings utility, and utility for your first playthrough at least is not gonna be the most important factor you can leverage. I would like to hear your thoughts on the Sergeant though, because having people on the stream these days brainstorming and talking about what's in the game has led to some revelations that improved my gameplay and the gameplay of all those watching and participating. So sub, like, hit that bell, drop by the streams, I'll call you out and we can have a productive discussion on how to optimize not only the Sergeant, but our strategies overall. Hope you enjoy this, people. I will be streaming and covering this game very extensively, so I hope I'll see you around. Until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers!